The first deputy permanent representative to the United Nations of the Russian Federation told journalists that the Russian Ministry of Defense keeps collecting information that the Kyiv regime, backed by the US, is preparing staged provocations in order to accuse the Russian armed forces of using chemical weapons. Let's watch this.
As you may have noticed, we do our best to keep you updated on the non-proliferation threats in Ukraine. I will be frank, the situation is very alarming. Our Ministry of Defense keeps collecting information that the Kyiv regime, backed by the US, is preparing staged provocations in order to accuse the Russian armed forces of using chemical, biological, and tactical nuclear weapons. There are three possible scenarios of this. The first one is a staged incident under a false flag, an actual use of chemical or biological weapons resulting in casualties among the civilians. Another option, a staged so-called Russian sabotage at those facilities in Ukraine where components of weapons of mass destruction were produced. The second scenario is a covert use of weapons of mass destruction by the Kyiv regime and radical groups in small volumes for tactical purposes. You cannot fully exclude the third scenario, when the Kyiv regime and radical groups use the weapons of mass destruction on the battlefield in case they fail to gain superiority by conventional means. I would like to stress, what has long been considered as unthinkable is now a realistic scenario plotted by the Kyiv regime, encouraged and supported by the USA. There are numerous indications of that. One of them is the hysteria about the possible use of chemical substances deliberately stirred up by the Western media and Western politicians. On this point, I would like to encourage you to stop and think out of this propagandistic fog of war. Even if we set aside a proven fact that Russia does not possess any chemical or biological weapons, what is the rationale for using them in Ukraine, in the close proximity to the Russian border?
Russia on Monday accused Kyiv of preventing civilians trapped with Ukrainian soldiers in Mariupol's Azovstal steelworks from leaving the besieged industrial center, despite a ceasefire announcement. The Defense Ministry had said it would allow a civilian evacuation from Mariupol's sprawling steel plant, which has been sheltering the remaining Ukrainian resistance in the southeastern port city. But the Russian army on Monday evening said no one used the proposed humanitarian corridor.